I started in 1980 and became a stand-up comedian, and that led to my getting a television show.
A meteoric rise in a way, because it wasn't long from Denver before you were off to Los Angeles, of course.
That's right. It was about 4 or 5 years.
I wonder how many people know, the whole television series really was based around the style of stand-up comedy that you brought to Los Angeles in the 1980s, wasn't it?
It was based on my stand-up act, where, in my act I talked about being a mom and, having 3 kids and being married. So that's where the whole show came from. And the whole show was based on my family again, and they're all suing me, all my kids now, for residuals.
You've had a fantastic career. I guess a lot of people...
I have had a fun and fantastic career. I sure have.
You appeared in The Wizard of Oz, of course, didn't you, on Broadway, I think?
On Broadway, I played the Wicked Witch, and it was so much fun. I got to fly across the stage on a bicycle, and first I come out in the beginning on a bike as, the mean neighbor lady, and then I'd go backstage and they'd get these sponges full of green paint and slam it all over my face, and then put a witch hat on me and strap a bicycle between my legs, and then we'd go up in the air and fly across. It was so awesome. It was so fun. I just loved it.
Television series towards the end you actually produced as well, but I wonder if actually performing live in front of a live audience is what you enjoy most.
I love being in front of a live audience. It's just so great. It's just, it really tests your mettle as a comic, because you're flying by the seat of your pants and off the top of your head, because you never know what anybody's going to say. You really never know what anyone's going to do, and you got to be prepared for it. And it's fun. When I was a stand-up comic, I was sort of noted for interacting with hecklers off the top of my head, and it's just exciting because everything is not scripted, and it's much more free. And also, just to stand in front of people all by yourself, it's just a craft that you work a long time to get good at.
So what you're saying is you like living dangerously?
Yes, and I have partial nudity too. Don't forget that.
Really?
Yes, in my show I have partial nudity.
I shall look forward to that.
I know I do.
What sort of inspired you in the style of comedy that you have and that you have made your own over the years since the 1980s? Where did that influence come from? Is it from your own background?
From my father. My father wanted to be a stand-up comic, and when I was a little girl, we would watch the comedians together, and he'd tell me why this guy was funny and who was funny and what was funny about him, and it was his passion, and he had all the Lenny Bruce records and all the comedy records, and we listened to them, and that was basically the most of the way I related to my dad. So I just learned it from him. He was the funniest person I've ever met.
In a sense as well, what you managed to do, a lot of people, if I described your sort of comedy and talked about the series on television and what it was all based around, they might think it only ever appealed to a female audience. But of course it's appealed to everybody, hasn't it?
Yeah, it does. It has a very broad range of people who like it, from very young to very old, and all colors of people and all classes of people and all languages too. It's all over the world. It's really wonderful.
How would you say your style has changed now?
You're always the same. You just you get a little more subtle and a little more refined, as you go along in life, as well as your stagecraft. So it's pretty much the same, although I think it's a little bit broader because I've been more places and I brought different influences and things I've learned to it. So I think I'm better and more seasoned as a comic now than ever.
Roseanne, all the very best.
Have a question about your future?
Yeah, am I going to come into money?
No.